Chapter 3 has changed the meta up with the introduction of the MK7 and notably the Striker SMG. What this means is that each role is going to have their dedicated loadout, and today we're going to go over each one of those loadouts. There's 5 in total with a bonus one at the end. So stay tuned for the end of the video so that way you don't miss out. Let's get right into it. Starting off with one of the most overused loadouts in the game right now. Pretty much anybody can run this loadout, but don't worry, as we go down, we got some like controversial ones down there, but you know, just bear with me. Let me explain why I think some of these loadouts will work. Starting with loadout number 1, we have obviously the double SMG, MK7, and double heals. This loadout is going to be fantastic no matter who's using it, because the Striker SMG is just insanely overpowered. It has a super fast fire rate to it. It reloads pretty quickly now that Fortnite has fixed the reload bug for it. Additionally, you have the MK7 in with this loadout for some of those range shots, having the high fire rate as well. People are just going to dominate with this loadout here. So if you're playing solos or you're playing duos as kind of a support, you can run this as well. If you got 2 people running this exact same loadout, it's pretty much going to be unstoppable unless you run into someone who's just insane at pre-firing. I mean, I've run into a couple this season actually, but there's not really much to talk about with loadout number 1. We all know that that's the most overpowered loadout that we can have in chapter 3 right now. Moving on to loadout number 2. Now, I have this loadout put with the fragger / co-IGL. So someone who kind of helps the IGL out during like in-game or mid-game, but they're mostly the fragger role. With this loadout, I have set a striker pump, striker SMG, and MK7 with double heals. This is a pretty well-rounded loadout. You've got the pump for quick edit plays if you need to, the MK7 for those range shots, and obviously the striker SMG for just getting in someone's face and deleting them from the game forever. I think this loadout is pretty perfect for that fragger role. It has a lot of quick dealing damage items in this loadout, which is perfect for that fragger role because you want to make sure that you're able to get in that fight quick and get out. Now with loadout number 3, I have as the support frag loadout. Now, as we enter 2022 here, we already know that the competitive side of things is going to be duos. So the fragger is probably going to be playing kind of dual roles, if not both of y'all. That's why you see some of these like fragger IGL loadouts, or like this one in case support fragger. With this one, I have the striker pump, MK7, and 3 slots for heals. You're playing support, you got to make sure that you have those healing items. For the healing items, would recommend minis, bigs, and the guzzle juice, because the guzzle juice got a buff in this past update, and now it heals 4 HP per second, which is completely ridiculous. I'm carrying the guzzle juice over the med miss and med kit any day. And then you also have those 2 slots for the shields, whether it be minis, bigs, minis, splashes. You want to make sure you have those minis with you for those quick shield heals. So you can substitute that second spot where you normally have like your big pots. You could have the big pots there, or you could have the splashes there. Moving on to loadout number 4. This one I have specifically for a support role. With what I said previously with the last loadout, this may not make any sense, but I'll explain, don't worry. So I have the automatic shotgun, Stinger SMG, and the MK7 with double heals. Now, I know you're thinking, but you just said support should carry 3 heals. That's for support frag. But with the support, you want to make sure that you can back up your IGL or your fragger with extra firepower, and also being able to have enough heals for you and them if needed. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, the auto shotgun's so bad. That's not true. The auto shotgun does about the same amount of damage as the legendary TAC did back in chapter 2. The only downside to the TAC is that its reload speed is so slow. And that's why you're not really going to be using this shotgun as like a tack, because obviously with this meta, the striker SMG and the MK7 are super overpowered that you really don't need a shotgun. So I like to run this tack as the support role because, one, it does a ton of damage to builds. It actually does put out pretty nice damage if you can hit your shots with it. It can break a fully built wooden wall in like 2 shots. So it's easy to get in on someone, especially if you're backing someone else up. You might even get a pre-fire in with that shot. But it's good to open up with this auto shotgun, or even try to go for like a wall replace with this shotgun, and then follow that up with the striker SMG if you're in close range. But sometimes, especially in this meta, you tend to get third-partied a lot. Say you just finished up a fight and your SMG is not reloaded, but here comes more people. Your tag's down 2 shots, so you've got 6 shots in total in the clip. That's enough shots to at least get a heavy hit off on someone to give your IGL/fragger enough time to reload their SMG and their weapons, and possibly allow you to reload your SMG as well. If not, you still have the MK7 that you can fall back on for your spray weapon, which makes that super viable. It really doesn't do that much less damage than the striker pump does, and it has a faster fire rate than the striker pump. The only downside is that the reload speed is just awful, but that's why we are carrying the SMG and also the MK7, so that way we have 2 spray weapons just in case if we do run out of ammo in the auto shotgun. Now, if that loadout didn't throw you through a loop, this next one for sure will. With loadout number 5, I have this as another support fragger role. So with this loadout, I have the auto shotgun, MK7, and the Ranger, also with double heals. Double heals is mandatory for any loadout. 2 of the so-called worst weapons in the game being in a loadout. Why am I even discussing this? We already talked about the tac on how viable that it can be. And if you're good with your shots, you can land some pretty high damage shots with it. But let's talk about the Ranger. We have the MK7 on there. It's a really good mid-range weapon, and even close range, it's pretty decent. They did end up nerfing the up-close range of the MK7, so if you wanted, you could substitute in a striker SMG in the location of the MK7, but the MK7 is going to be good for applying pressure, helping out your IGL or your other fragger that you have. It's going to be really good at putting down that pressure since you're not running an SMG. The MK7 in this loadout is strictly pressure and up close spray weapon for, you know, when your tac ends up running out of ammo. I want to talk about the Ranger because I think the Ranger is insanely slept on. The Ranger is going to be great for those storm surge tags inside of these like tournaments that we're going into, pretty much like the old AK. Unlike the AK, these really don't have that bad of a bloom on them. They have a really quick first shot accuracy and they hit like a truck. Running the Ranger for those storm surge tags is going to be insane. The way I see it, if you're boxed up in like one of the final zones and there's 40 to 60 people left and you got people launch padding all the way across the map, the Ranger is going to be really good getting those precise shots down on people, and it does a ton of damage. Like, I think the blue one does like almost 40 damage to the body, 60 to 70 to the head. It's ridiculous on how much damage the Ranger AR actually puts down. I highly believe that this should probably take the spot as the most underrated weapon inside of Fortnite Chapter 3. But that's just what I think. I've had a lot of luck with these loadouts myself personally. I think besides the MK7 and the Striker SMG, that pretty much all the weapons in Chapter 3 are fairly balanced. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments down below. What are y'all running in y'all's loadout when y'all play Chapter 3? Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you're new here with the bell turned on for notifications so that way you never miss an upload. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.